The greatest battle we will ever fight is not with the world, not with our competitors, and not even with the people who doubt us. It is the battle that takes place in our own minds every single day. The human mind is a remarkable creation. It can be our greatest ally or our most relentless enemy. Every decision, every hesitation, every breakthrough begins with a single thought. And yet, too often, we let our minds become the very thing that holds us back. We feed it fear, doubt, and comparison, and then we wonder why we feel stuck. The truth is, our lives are a direct reflection of the quality of our thoughts. When we begin to understand that our internal dialogue shapes our external reality, everything changes. The world does not determine who we become, our mindset does. The people who seem unshakable, who rise no matter how many times they fall, have not been spared from hardship. They have simply learned to master their inner world. They've trained their minds to see opportunity where others see obstacles. They've chosen to respond with strength when it would be easier to give in to despair. Every morning, before the world has the chance to influence us, our minds are at their most powerful. What we choose to focus on in those early moments sets the tone for the day ahead. If we start with gratitude, clarity, and intention, we build mental armor that shields us from negativity. But if we start with stress, distraction, and doubt, we hand control of our day to everything outside of us. The mind must be trained with the same discipline as the body, repeatedly, consistently, and deliberately. This is not easy work. Training the mind requires awareness and patience. It means catching yourself when fear tries to take over. It means questioning the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. It means refusing to let temporary emotions create permanent decisions. The people who achieve greatness are not those who never feel fear. They are those who have learned not to let fear drive their choices. They understand that courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. We are all conditioned by our past, our failures, our upbringing, our environment. But that conditioning does not have to define our future. The mind can be reprogrammed through consistent effort. When we replace negative thought patterns with empowering ones, we begin to shift our entire experience of life. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we start asking, "What can I learn from this?" That simple shift transforms pain into purpose and struggle into strength. It's important to remember that our thoughts don't just affect our emotions, they influence our actions. A mind filled with doubt leads to hesitation, while a mind trained in confidence produces decisive movement. When we believe we can, we act like it. When we act like it, we build momentum, and when we build momentum, we create change. Everything begins with the decision to direct our thoughts toward possibility instead of limitation. Even the most successful people battle negative thoughts. The difference is, they don't let those thoughts win. They have trained themselves to pause, to breathe, and to choose a response instead of reacting impulsively. This is what mental strength truly means, the ability to stay calm in chaos, to find focus in distraction, and to rise when everything around you is pulling you down. It's not about ignoring the struggle, it's about rising through it with awareness and purpose. We all have a voice inside that doubts us, that whispers we're not ready, not good enough, not capable. But that voice loses power the moment we start proving it wrong. Every small act of discipline weakens it. Every moment of courage silences it. The more we train our minds to rise above those whispers, the more freedom we create to live fully without hesitation or fear. Life will continue to test us. It will present setbacks, disappointments, and moments that feel impossible to overcome. But within every challenge lies a choice, to surrender or to rise. The world does not get easier, we get stronger. And strength is not built by avoiding difficulty, it is built by facing it head on and choosing growth over comfort. Training your mind to rise is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong practice. It is the daily decision to be intentional with your thoughts, to guard your focus, and to remind yourself of who you are becoming. Each thought is a seed. Each belief is a foundation, and each moment of awareness is a step toward becoming the person capable of rising no matter how heavy life feels. Every day, whether we realize it or not, we are training our minds. The way we respond to challenges, the words we repeat to ourselves, the emotions we choose to entertain, all of these are forms of mental conditioning. From the moment we wake up, our thoughts begin to shape the rhythm of our day. If we dwell on frustration or fear, we strengthen those mental muscles. If we choose focus, gratitude, and purpose, we build resilience. The truth is, the mind is always learning. The question isn't whether it's being trained. The question is what we are training it for. When people talk about training, they often think of the body lifting weights, running miles, practicing technique. But the same principle applies to the mind. Repetition builds strength. Every time we focus on something positive instead of negative, every time we push through discomfort instead of giving up, we're reinforcing new mental habits. Over time, those small moments accumulate into something powerful, mental toughness. This kind of strength doesn't come from books or speeches. It comes from the choices we make in ordinary moments. Most of us underestimate how much our environment trains us. The conversations we have, the media we consume, and the people we spend time with all influence the way we think. If we surround ourselves with negativity, we absorb it. If we spend time with people who challenge us to grow, we rise to their level. Training your mind is not just about what you do internally, it's also about curating what you allow to enter your thoughts. Discipline begins with awareness of who and what is shaping your mental state. Training also means rewiring the way we interpret failure. Too often, we see failure as proof that we're not good enough. But those who train their minds to rise understand that failure is information. It's feedback, not finality. Each mistake reveals something about where we are and where we need to go. When we shift from self-criticism to curiosity, we transform failure from an enemy into a teacher. That shift in perspective doesn't happen naturally. It's the product of intentional mental practice. There's a powerful truth in the idea that what we practice, we become. Practice frustration, and you become impatient. Practice gratitude, and you become grounded. Practice discipline, and you become unstoppable. It's not a matter of fate. It's a matter of repetition. Just like an athlete who trains daily, the mind adapts to the inputs it receives. The only way to change your mental state is to consistently expose it to the patterns you want it to adopt. Every thought is a repetition. Every emotion is a rehearsal. People often say they'll change their mindset when their circumstances improve, but that's backwards. Circumstances improve when the mindset changes first. Training the mind is about deciding how you will think before the world gives you a reason to think that way. It's about creating strength in advance. When you develop this level of mental discipline, you no longer wait for external motivation. You generate it from within. That's how leaders, creators, and innovators sustain themselves through uncertainty. They've trained their minds to operate beyond circumstance. There will always be days when motivation runs low, when everything feels heavy, when the easy thing would be to stop trying. But that's where training proves its worth. Just as a runner relies on muscle memory when fatigue sets in, the mind relies on the habits it's built. If you've trained your mind to persist, it will carry you through the moments when willpower fades. That is the purpose of training, to create strength that endures even when emotion falters. Another essential part of mental training is self-talk. The words we say to ourselves hold incredible power. Most people would never speak to a friend the way they speak to themselves. The mind listens to every word, and it responds accordingly. If we keep telling ourselves we can't, we begin to believe it. But if we train our language to align with possibility, to say I can, I will, or I'm learning, we build a foundation of belief that fuels growth. Words are weights for the mind. What you lift daily determines your strength. Consistency is what transforms training into transformation. One moment of positive thinking won't rewrite a lifetime of self-doubt, just as one workout won't build lasting strength. The key is persistence. Small, repeated efforts compound over time until they become your new normal. The mind doesn't change overnight. It evolves through steady, deliberate effort. Each day, you choose discipline over distraction, progress over perfection. You're sculpting the mental framework of your future self. Ultimately, training your mind means taking responsibility for what you think, feel, and focus on. It means understanding that every moment is an opportunity to strengthen your resilience or to surrender to weakness. The choice is never passive. It's active, intentional, and ongoing. Whether you realize it or not, every thought is a repetition in the gym of the mind. And the strength you build there will define how you show up in every part of your life. The mind is a powerful instrument capable of creation, destruction, and everything in between. What we feed it determines how it performs. Just like a computer runs on the data it receives, the mind operates on the information we allow inside. If we fill it with negativity, it begins to see the world through the lens of limitation. If we nourish it with gratitude, it finds meaning even in difficulty. This simple truth has the power to reshape how we live our lives, yet it's one most people overlook. We spend hours managing our bodies and our possessions, but give little attention to what fuels our thoughts. The stories we tell ourselves become the blueprint of our reality. When we constantly repeat that something is impossible, our mind accepts that as fact and stops seeking solutions. When we affirm that we're capable, that there's always a way, our brain begins to scan for opportunities. This is not about magical thinking, it's about mental focus. The human brain is designed to prove itself right. Whatever we believe, it will find evidence to support. So if we continually feed it with doubt, it will magnify every obstacle. But if we feed it with confidence, it will amplify every possibility. Many people underestimate the cumulative power of small thoughts. A single negative idea might seem harmless, but repeated daily, it becomes a habit. Over time, that habit shapes personality and expectation. The same is true for positive thinking. One moment of gratitude may feel insignificant, but over weeks and months it reprograms the mind to see abundance instead of scarcity. Every day, we're either reinforcing fear or building faith. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing the perspective that allows us to rise within it. It's easy to get caught up in external noise, the news, social media, other people's opinions. These inputs slowly become the soundtrack of our minds. When we consume too much negativity, our focus narrows. We start expecting problems, not possibilities. Protecting your mental diet means being selective about what you allow to influence your thoughts. Just as an athlete guards what they eat, a disciplined mind guards what it consumes. The goal is not to isolate from the world, but to maintain control over what gets to live in your head. The process of feeding your mind well also involves what you say to yourself when no one's listening. Self-talk is the most consistent voice we hear, and over time it shapes identity. If that voice is harsh and critical, the mind learns to expect failure. If it's encouraging and honest, the mind learns to persevere. You don't have to lie to yourself, but you do have to lead yourself. Leadership starts internally with the tone you use in conversation with your own mind. Every word matters because every word plants a seed that grows into belief. One of the greatest skills we can develop is the ability to redirect our focus. Problems will always exist, but so will potential. When we dwell on the problem, it expands. When we focus on the solution, the problem begins to shrink. The mind can't hold two opposing thoughts with equal strength. One will dominate. Feeding your mind with constructive, forward-looking ideas ensures that in moments of stress, you instinctively look for answers instead of excuses. Over time, this mental reflex becomes the foundation of resilience. There is a quiet strength in the ability to find gratitude even in chaos. Gratitude doesn't erase difficulty, it reframes it. When you choose to see what's working instead of what's missing, your energy changes. The brain begins to notice resources, support, and progress that were previously invisible. This doesn't happen by accident, it happens through deliberate practice. Just like lifting weights strengthens muscles, regularly acknowledging what's good strengthens optimism. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes to look for light in dark moments. When you train your mind to search for growth, it starts seeing challenges as opportunities instead of threats. This shift alters your emotional state, your behavior, and even your physiology. A mind that focuses on progress produces confidence, while a mind that fixates on fear produces stress. Scientists have shown that consistent positive focus can rewire neural pathways, creating long-term resilience. What we feed our minds literally changes the structure of our brains, shaping not just how we think, but who we become. The people who achieve lasting success are not necessarily the most talented. They are the most intentional about their mental diet. They understand that negativity drains energy while optimism fuels it. They choose conversations, content, and environments that support their vision. This isn't about living in denial. It's about maintaining alignment between your thoughts and your goals. Every word you read, every voice you listen to, every belief you repeat either builds or breaks your momentum. What you feed your mind eventually feeds your reality. If we want to rise, we must take responsibility for what enters our mental space. That means being vigilant about the messages we absorb and the thoughts we nurture. The mind cannot grow strong on a diet of fear and distraction. It thrives on clarity, hope, and purpose. Each day is an opportunity to choose what we feed it, whether we give it doubts that weaken or beliefs that empower. The power to transform lies not in what we have, but in what we choose to think over and over again, until the mind learns to rise on its own. Growth never comes from comfort. The moments that define us are the ones that push us beyond what we thought we could handle. Pressure, challenge, and uncertainty are not obstacles to avoid. They are the raw materials of strength. Every time we encounter resistance, we are being given a choice, to retreat to safety or to rise to the occasion. The truth is, comfort feels good in the short term, but it dulls our edge. Growth demands discomfort. It requires that we step into spaces where we are untested, uncertain, and sometimes afraid. Only then can we discover the full capacity of who we are. The idea that struggle is bad is one of the greatest misconceptions we hold. Struggle is not failure, it's feedback. It's a signal that we are moving, stretching, evolving. A life without struggle may feel easier, but it is also empty of progress. Think about the way a diamond is formed, through heat, pressure, and time. The same principle applies to people. Without pressure, our potential remains buried. Without challenge, our strength stays dormant. Growth is uncomfortable because it's supposed to be. It's the evidence that something new is being built within us. We often pray for easy paths, but the easy path teaches us nothing. It doesn't prepare us for the storms that inevitably come. Real growth happens when we walk through fire and come out forged, not fragile. Every setback, every moment of doubt, every failure becomes a lesson if we choose to see it that way. Resistance is what builds resilience. It is not the avoidance of pain that makes us stronger, but our ability to endure it, to learn from it, and to keep moving forward despite it. The human spirit is wired for adaptation. When we push past our limits, our minds and bodies respond by growing stronger. That's why athletes train with intensity, why leaders face hard decisions, and why innovators embrace risk. They understand that excellence is not born. It's built through consistent confrontation with difficulty. Growth comes when we lean into resistance, not away from it. The mind grows when we test it, when we face the fear of failure and keep going anyway. Many people wait for the right time, to begin when things are calm, when they feel ready, when conditions are perfect. But comfort and readiness rarely arrive at the same time. Waiting for comfort before taking action is like waiting for the storm to pass before learning how to sail. The very act of facing discomfort is what creates readiness. Growth is messy. It's filled with mistakes, detours, and doubt. But through that process, we gain wisdom that comfort could never teach us. It's in the hardest seasons of life that we discover what we're truly made of. When the plan falls apart, when the future feels uncertain, when everything seems too heavy to carry, those are the moments that reveal our inner strength. Comfort hides it, struggle exposes it. The more we face, the more we learn how to trust ourselves. We begin to realize that we are capable of far more than we ever imagined. That understanding doesn't come from ease, it comes from endurance. Pressure doesn't just build strength, it reveals character. When life tightens its grip, our true nature comes to the surface. Do we give in to fear, or do we stand firm in faith? Do we collapse under the weight, or do we grow under it? The answer depends on how we've trained ourselves to respond to adversity. Every difficult moment is an opportunity to practice resilience, to remind ourselves that pain is temporary, but the lessons it teaches last forever. The process of growth is not linear. There are days when progress feels invisible, when all we see are setbacks and failures. But those invisible days are often the most important. Growth doesn't always announce itself with visible success. It often happens quietly, in the background, while we're struggling to stay consistent. The discomfort we feel is the evidence that we are becoming something more. It's the gap between who we were and who we're meant to be. When we begin to see challenges as training rather than punishment, our entire perspective shifts. Suddenly, difficulty becomes meaningful. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we start asking, "What is this preparing me for?" That shift in mindset transforms struggle into strength. It turns pain into progress. Every challenge becomes a stepping stone toward mastery, not a barrier that holds us back. Growth requires us to stop avoiding resistance and start embracing it. The mind, like a muscle, grows only when pushed beyond comfort. The discomfort we feel in the process is proof that we're expanding. It means we're building capacity, learning to handle more, and strengthening the core of who we are. The most powerful version of ourselves doesn't emerge in moments of ease. It's born in the struggle, shaped by persistence, and refined by every challenge that dares to test our resolve. Mindset is the foundation of everything we do. It determines how we see the world, how we interpret challenges, and how we respond when things don't go according to plan. Talent and skill can open doors, but it's mindset that keeps them open. A person with the right mindset can take failure and turn it into fuel, while someone with the wrong mindset can have every advantage and still fall short. What separates those who succeed from those who surrender isn't intelligence or opportunity, it's how they think. A strong mindset transforms obstacles into stepping stones and setbacks into lessons. When we talk about strength, we often think about physical endurance, but mental endurance is far more powerful. The mind leads and the body follows. When your mind believes you can push further, your body finds a way to obey. This is why two people can face the same challenge and have completely different outcomes. One gives up because they see a wall, the other keeps going because they see a way through. The difference is not ability, it's belief. A trained mind doesn't see limitation, it sees possibility hidden inside the struggle. The truth about mindset is that it's not something you're born with. It's something you build. It's a daily practice, a constant discipline. Every decision you make either strengthens or weakens it. When you choose to persevere when it's hard, you reinforce belief. When you choose to avoid discomfort, you reinforce doubt. Over time, those small choices become habits, and those habits become the lens through which you experience life. A powerful mindset isn't developed by avoiding difficulty, it's developed by facing it repeatedly until courage becomes automatic. The greatest advantage of a strong mindset is its ability to keep you grounded when everything around you is uncertain. The world will always shift, plans will fail, people will disappoint you, and circumstances will change. But the person with a solid mindset doesn't crumble. They adapt, they understand that control lies not in what happens, but in how they respond. That kind of mental strength doesn't eliminate emotion, it channels it. It allows frustration to become focus, fear to become fuel, and doubt to become determination. We often underestimate how much our internal dialogue influences our external results. The way you speak to yourself when no one is listening shapes your mind, set more than any motivational quote ever could. If your self-talk is filled with limitation, your actions will mirror that belief. But if your inner voice speaks with courage and purpose, your behavior will rise to meet it. This is why mindset work isn't just about thinking positively. It's about creating an inner environment where growth feels natural and failure feels temporary. A strong mindset also allows you to take ownership of your journey. It removes the habit of blaming circumstances and replaces it with responsibility. When you take ownership, you reclaim power. You begin to realize that you don't have to control everything. You only have to control your focus and your effort. This shift changes everything. Suddenly, instead of seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance, you become a student of experience. Every mistake becomes a lesson, and every challenge becomes an opportunity to strengthen your resolve. One of the most transformative qualities of a strong mindset is its resilience. Resilience is the ability to bend without breaking, to be tested without being destroyed. It's not about pretending to be unshakable. It's about knowing that even when you fall, you can rise again. The person with a resilient mindset doesn't see failure as the end of the story. It's simply a chapter. They use adversity as evidence that they are still in motion, still growing, still capable of creating something greater than before. Another powerful aspect of mindset is focus. The mind, when left untrained, will drift toward distraction, fear, and doubt. But when you train your focus, you learn to direct your thoughts toward what truly matters. You begin to see the difference between what deserves your attention and what drains it. Focused minds create clarity, and clarity creates confidence. When you know what you're working toward and believe in your ability to achieve it, distractions lose their power. That focus becomes a weapon that cuts through uncertainty and noise. Mindset shapes how we see others as well. When you operate from a growth mindset, you stop comparing and start learning. You celebrate others' success because you know it doesn't diminish your own potential. It proves what's possible. Competition turns into inspiration, and jealousy turns into motivation. This kind of mindset builds connection instead of division, creating an environment where everyone rises together. The energy you bring into the world mirrors the mindset you hold within yourself. In the end, mindset is the quiet strength that determines the quality of every decision, every relationship, and every goal we pursue. It's the difference between reacting and responding, between giving up and growing through. When your mind is disciplined, your actions align with purpose. When your mind is confident, your potential expands. Every great leader, athlete, and creator shares this same truth. Their success began long before the results appeared. It began the moment they decided to master their mindset. Rising is not a single moment of victory. It's a daily act of intention. It's the quiet decision made each morning to stand up, even when it feels easier to stay down. Life will always present reasons to hesitate, to retreat, to play small, but the choice to rise must come from within. It's not about waiting for the right time or the perfect conditions. It's about realizing that every day is an opportunity to start again, to take one more step, to prove to yourself that strength is built through persistence, not perfection. The act of rising is both ordinary and extraordinary because it happens in the smallest choices we make. To rise each day requires discipline of thought. The mind will naturally gravitate toward fear, self-doubt, and distraction if left untrained. Choosing to rise means directing that energy towards something higher. Purpose, growth, progress. It's not about ignoring the pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about refusing to let that pain define you. Rising is an act of defiance against the weight of discouragement. It's the declaration that no matter how heavy yesterday felt, Today you will still move forward. That's where true resilience begins, not in the absence of struggle, but in the decision to face it again. Every sunrise is a reminder that no darkness lasts forever. The world outside us mirrors the world within us, cycles of light and shadow, of strength and vulnerability. Rising means accepting those cycles as part of the process, not as evidence of weakness. There will be days when your energy is low and your progress feels invisible. But even on those days, showing up for yourself counts. Progress is not always visible. Sometimes it's internal. It's the moment you choose not to give up, the moment you take one breath deeper than the day before. Those invisible victories build the foundation for every visible success that follows. Rising is not just about pushing forward, it's about remembering why you started. Purpose fuels endurance. When your reason is clear, your resilience strengthens. The mind needs a why to endure the how. When you anchor your actions in something meaningful, even the hardest days gain direction. Purpose transforms pain into persistence. It gives weight to your effort and meaning to your struggle. When you rise for something greater than comfort or ego, your movement becomes unstoppable. That's why clarity of purpose is not optional. It's essential to rising consistently. The act of rising also involves letting go of expectations, of perfection, of the need for approval. So much of what holds us down isn't what happens to us, but what we hold on to. We carry past mistakes, old fears, and the weight of comparison until we convince ourselves we can't move. But rising requires release. You cannot ascend while clinging to what no longer serves you. Growth demands space. The more you release the unnecessary, the lighter you become, and the easier it is to lift yourself toward what's next. To rise every day is to practice courage. Courage isn't loud or dramatic. It's steady and quiet. It's the voice that says, "I'll try again," even after failing. It's the calm persistence to keep showing up when motivation fades. Courage doesn't mean you stop feeling afraid. It means fear no longer makes your decisions for you. Each act of courage, no matter how small, builds momentum. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes, until eventually rising becomes a natural part of who you are. There's a rhythm to rising. It's not always fast, and it's rarely easy, but it's steady. Some days you'll move forward with confidence, other days you'll crawl through uncertainty. Both count. Rising is not about speed. It's about consistency. Each effort compounds, even when it doesn't feel like it. Growth is not measured in leaps, but in inches. The mind learns through repetition, and the body follows the habits we reinforce. The more we choose to rise, the more it becomes instinctive. The choice that once felt impossible becomes automatic. Rising also means lifting others as you climb. Strength gained in isolation fades, strength shared multiplies. When you rise, you create light for others still walking through their darkness. Your persistence becomes permission for them to believe that they can rise too. Every act of resilience sends a ripple effect far beyond what you can see. That's the quiet beauty of rising. It doesn't just transform the person doing it, it transforms the environment around them. Your courage becomes contagious. It's easy to underestimate the power of small beginnings. Rising isn't about monumental leaps. It's about small, consistent movements that, over time, change everything. One decision, one action, one belief, the smallest act of effort, repeated with intention, eventually reshapes your entire life. The mountain that once felt insurmountable becomes climbable because you chose to move an inch at a time. Rising is less about grand gestures and more about quiet persistence. It's the decision to keep going, even when no one is watching, because you know the journey is worth it. To rise each day is to live with awareness. It's recognizing that life will always contain uncertainty, but that uncertainty does not have to control you. Rising means embracing that uncertainty with strength, humility, and hope. It's the understanding that you are not defined by what happens to you, but by how you respond to it. Every morning presents a new opportunity to rise a little higher, to think a little clearer, and to become a little stronger. The process is ongoing, endless, and deeply human, a commitment to growth, to courage, and to the quiet, unwavering act of standing up again and again.